And we are live. Good morning, everybody. You've been saying it. You've been saying you want the fighters. You want to know, you want to see the Democrats. You want to hear from the Democrats that are out there fighting and taking on the Trump regime and just doing it to it. Well, folks, I got the fighters for you today. Both of their time is incredibly valuable. So let's not waste any of it. Let's get right into it. Good morning, Mr. Will. Good. So glad you could be here. And I want to make sure I've got that straight. I'm a real stickler for that. Pronouncing people's name correctly. I have always heard your name pronounced Josh Will.
That's it.
Nailed it. All right. Thank you. I know your time is incredibly valuable right now. You're coming into the last 2 weeks of a really rough campaign. You're fighting it, slugging it out there. Florida's 6th district. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I am truly grateful. I am truly grateful for you to be here.
Absolutely happy to be here. I'm all like, this is it. Like, it's coffee all day. So this is the perfect show.
It's kind of our thing around here. Mr. Y, you are a teacher by trade. Yep. Master's degree, well-educated, a lot of experience working in our education department. You've got to be absolutely horrified at what you've seen in the last 24 hours from the Trump administration. I mean, the Republicans have talked forever about wanting to destroy the Department of Education. Here they go. I mean, they're actually digging into it. First of all, they appointed that clown, Linda McMahon. This is, for folks, if you don't know who Linda McMahon is, and I don't call her a clown lightly. She is literally a clown by trade. I mean, she runs the WWE with her kind of disgusting husband Vince, and she has no qualifications to run the Department of Education, no history in education, nothing like that. And here we go, Josh. I mean, tell us.
And we just had that amazing Mr. McMahon documentary came out late last year that showed all the disgusting things they've done in the background of that industry over the years as well. The Department of Education, we've got two separate issues here. The first is the fact that they're trying to dismantle it and what that means. They can't eliminate all the funding because that would require overturning major federal legislation like ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act, and IDEA for students with disabilities. All of that is still in place. What they're doing is they're taking a wrecking ball to the infrastructure because the federal Department of Education is directly connected to over 97,000 public schools across the country. Federal funding goes directly to the schools. It doesn't go through the state. It doesn't go through the district. And that's important because when we're talking about our, underserved communities, when we're talking about Title I schools, too often we see districts, we all know in our city, in our county, right, which schools get all the shiny, pretty new things and which ones don't. Mm-hmm. Just because one district oversees multiple schools doesn't mean they're all treated and funded fairly. So this direct funding is incredibly important to ensure that we have the services and the people that we need to keep these schools running. By disconnecting it, it's going to go to the states. The states can then redistribute it any way they like. And maybe in New York, right, with Kathy Hochul and a strong Democratic governor and legislature, right? Most of that money gets to where it's supposed to go. But we're in Florida. We have Ron DeSantis, and he spent the last 6 years showing us that he will take every dollar he can out of our public schools and give it to privates and charters of his choosing, usually associated with some sort of donating or backing his political campaigns or initiatives. This is going to be devastating. We're going to have school closures up and down the state, school consolidations. There's not going to be any way to maintain the current class size laws. We're going to see class size increases. It's going to absolutely devastate and cripple public schools in the state of Florida, and a number of other states as well. The second issue.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The president doesn't even have the power to do this, right? Starting and opening and closing federal departments is in the purview of Congress. There is a bill on the floor for them to do this. The fact that he's trying to use an executive order is a massive overreach. He's trying to increase the powers of the presidency. He's trying to consolidate more of that power in his office, take it away from Congress. He has no authority. It's also a little inspiring for our race because, look, they have the bill on the floor and they have the numbers in the House, but it's going to take a little time to go through committee and go through that process. So if you were confident that you were going to hold these seats in Florida and you'd keep those numbers and keep the House this year, there would be no reason for you to try to overreach and eliminate the department in a way that you don't even have the power to do.
Yeah, a couple points of what you're talking about there. You're illuminating exactly what are the stakes in this race. What are we talking about? We're talking about a Congress that to date has just, forgive the expression, sat on their ass is all they've done. The Republicans control the scheduling. They control the hearings. They control everything because, we screwed up in the last election. We took power away from the Democrats. We did. That's on us. We did that. The results of that is you've got Republicans in Congress that don't do crap. They aren't, and they're sitting there, they're watching the Trump regime just absolutely just take a hatchet to the Department of Education. And let's be honest here, this is not about efficiency. If you go back to like September 11th, before September 11th, all of our law enforcement, our anti-terrorism activities were on all these different departments. They were just all over the place. So what did we do? We created the Department of Homeland Security to bring it all together to make it efficient. The Republicans are literally trying to do the exact opposite of that with the Department of Education. Right now we have the Department of Education where it's all centralized. It's all, you can watch it all. It's not spread out all over each Jesus. They want to move school loans to Treasury. They want to move
students with special needs for Health and Human Services, right?
Exactly.
Where the current
job training to labor.
Yeah, where the current secretary, Robert Kennedy Jr., doesn't believe in the majority of the diagnoses or needs that many of these kids are being serviced for. No,
absolutely. So it's not about efficiency. No. It's not about doing this better. It's not about doing it smarter. And the part that just blows my mind is, like I'm sitting here in Texas. This, by the way, this is Florida's 6th district, by the way, folks. So where we're talking about, the area we're talking about. Let me pull it up real quick. This is Florida's 6th district. You can see it. Let me zoom in a little bit. It's
big district.
Here's the Panhandle, the peninsula. It is the northern part. We're talking south of Jacksonville, north of Orlando. Butts up against the villages. You've got Dillon, Eustis, the suburbs of Ocala.
Yep. Nice little.
That's the district we're talking
all around the edges.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm in Texas, okay? Depending on, like you said, there's some, if you go down to the really nice areas of Austin, Lakeway, those areas, those schools just drowning in funding. They are, because the way we fund our schools here with property taxes and whatnot, you've got $1 million homes. They're doing great. You go over just a mile to the east, and you've got schools that are starving to death. I mean, literally can't keep the air conditioning running in Texas when it's 100 degrees. You know, I mean, it's right. So we get about 18% of our school funding per school from the federal government administered through the Department of Education.
Ours is a little over 30 because the state of Florida has some of the lowest per student funding in the country. So we spend so little that on education here in Florida that getting the same amount of money from the federal government as you do makes up a larger percentage for us.
Yeah, and this is where I'm going with that, Josh. This is going to hurt red states more than anybody. And the reason they're doing it, it's not efficiency. It's about one thing. They also have a department that regulates civil rights in schools. If you want that funding, that federal funding, you have to adhere to civil rights standards.
That's where anything with a 504 plan, if parents are familiar with 504 plans in their schools, all of that go through the Federal Office of Civil Rights and the Civil Rights, the Office of Civil Rights in the Department of Education.
That is what they're after. They want the money. They want to be able to take the money with no oversight, to be able to do whatever they want. But it is not going to work out the way they think it is. It never pans out the way they think it is. You've got southern red states that are going to be hurt the worst. I think California, our Robert Garcia is going to be joining me later, from Congressman Garcia from California. They're only getting, most of their schools about 6%. The lowest funded schools are taking about 10%.
Because they fund their schools in that state. The state is funding the schools. And states like Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia that have some of the lowest funding from their states, which strongly correlates with some of the lowest performance, lowest teacher salaries, lowest performance, those all go hand in hand, are going to be hurt the most. These are not, they're not even targeting Democrats. Now the impact to Title I schools in urban areas within these states are going to absolutely impact, people of color a lot harder. And they seem to be very happy about that, but they don't care about the collateral damage. They don't care about how many children and families are going to be grossly impacted by this.
And you've got people, like your opponent, Randy Fine. I'll get into him more in a minute, but who's more than willing. I call him Trump's blubber stamp. He is more than willing to just sit back with the rest of the Republicans in Congress, sit back on their butts and watch Donald Trump just, pardon the expression, but piss all over our Constitution.
A reporter asked him last month, right, what are the issues that are most important to the people in District 6? And his answer on the record was, I don't need to know what issues are important to them. I'm here to serve Donald Trump. Yeah,
exactly. If you don't mind, if I ask your permission, do you mind if I offer my personal opinion of your opponent? I mean, this is my personal opinion of Randy. Folks, this is who we're talking about. This is Randy Fine. This is the person that is running against Josh in Florida's 6th district. He is, in my personal opinion, he is repugnant in every way. He just is. He is what is wrong with our country. He is what is wrong with politics in our country. He is the kind of guy that, well, let's just the stuff that he was ordered by the courts into anger management courses. He has no respect for institutions. He shows up for a court case. He ends up in a inter-Republican court battle. He shows up to this court case, and he shows up in a T-shirt. Shows up in a T-shirt for court. The judge wraps his knuckles about that. But during the entire case, he is flipping his opponent the bird. He's, mouthing cuss words at him to the point where the judge finally has to just, hold him in civil contempt, makes him go to anger management classes. He has no respect for any institution or anyone, or obviously himself.
You know what he did the next day? Next day, he drove to Tallahassee and filed articles of impeachment against the judge who held him in contempt.
This guy, I really do not like your opponent. I mean, on a personal level, I do not like your opponent. He is the same guy, and he's a coward. He is a coward, Josh. He really is. He's the kind of guy that attacks people for their religion. He says the grossest things. He had a difference of opinion on what was going on with the Palestinians and Israel. And he called the person who disagreed with him. I actually have it here. It is a guy by the name of Halpern. Halpern. He called him a Judenrat.
Yes.
He called him a Judenrat because he disagreed with him on Israeli politics, basically. What's going on? That's
the term that they used for Jews who used to rat other Jews out to the Nazis during Hitler-era Germany.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a disgusting individual. And in every way, shape, and form, he is just gross. And it's one thing after another. And like you say, the man, he offers nothing to the people of your district.
Also, he's not going to work. We like to say here, right, that the best argument you can make against states' rights is the state of Florida, right? The fact that so many of these areas that we need regulation and support in now, whether it's education, whether it's housing and insurance, right? These are things that, the founding fathers never imagined would be major government purveyances, or that the country would grow to the scale and size and need that it is today. So all powers not explicitly granted to the federal government are reserved to the states. All of these things have kind of fallen over that way. And Randy Fine has been in the state legislature here for more than 8 years. Over that time, he has voted for deregulation of housing, which is why we're in a housing crisis. He's voted for deregulation of insurance, which is why we're in an insurance crisis. He's voted to keep the school funding as low as possible, which is why we're in the position we are with our public schools now. He is the problem. He is the reason why people in District 6 need their representative advocating for them for support in Washington. And by sending him there, you absolutely ensure that things will only get worse here. Exactly where I was going with this. Randy Fine will sit there and he will cheer Elon Musk. He will cheer. Last figures I could find on your district, you've got about 150,000 people plus in your district that are above, and I'm sure it's higher than that now because the numbers I found were from a couple of years ago. Since a couple of years ago, you've got 150,000 people plus that are over the age of 50. Oh, it's way more than that.
Randy,
our number for 65 plus is 183,000. It's a quarter of the district.
Well, there you go. Because I know your district has actually been exploding. That's what I'm talking about. You've got a population explosion. You've got an insurance crisis because you can't wrap my head around a state like Florida, which relies on a risk pool that is nationwide in order for its insurance systems to work. You've got Republicans like Randy Fine that are willing to rubber stamp anything. He's going to exacerbate your insurance crisis. He's not going to stand up to Elon Musk when he goes after your Social Security. He's cheering Elon Musk while they're firing people at the Veterans Administration. Take that one to the villages. You know how many veterans you have living in the villages that rely on the VA for their health care? And Randy Fine isn't going to do a damn thing for it. That's what I want to hear from you, Josh. Are you going to stand stand up with Democrats? Are you going to codify protections for the VA into law? Are you going to codify changes to the law that prevent going forward? This is an old Nixon playbook. What Trump is doing here isn't new. Nixon tried this. I'm a unitary executive. I'm a king. And the court said, no, you're not.
We don't do kings here.
No, yeah, we don't do kings here. No, it takes time. It does. But when this is over, are you going to stand up with Democrats and say, no, we're going to codify these protections into law? There will be no future Donald Trump that will come into power and try to destroy our government. That's what I'm wanting to hear. That's what people want to hear. People want bloody noses, Josh. They do. Yeah. They're pissed.
This is war. We need to stand up and hold the line. There's 213 Democrats in Congress right now, and there are about 3 of them that are on TV and social media and using their platform every day to try to hold the line in this race. We need all 213. We need everyone up and active and messaging and rallying because, look, last month he went on television and he made the boldest overreach in the history of this country. He claimed that the power to make laws and determine what is law and interpret them belongs to the President of the United States, explicitly trying to grab the powers granted to the legislative and judicial branch. He's attempting to completely obliterate separation of powers in our federal government and consolidate them all in his office. It has to be stopped. We need all legislatures standing up against this. And it's why we have to win these seats. It's why people are coming out. It's why we've gotten support from all over the country in this race, because people know that we have an opportunity to take back the House in 2025, and we need to do it. And it's about more than just stopping his Project 2025 legislation, although we will. It's about more than just making Hakeem Jeffries the first Black Speaker of the House in our nation's history, although we will. It's about taking, as you mentioned earlier, chairmanship of these committees back. The House Oversight Committee has been asleep at the wheel this entire time. They have been allowing an unelected, not congressionally approved, not Senate confirmed man who should have no power or access in the federal government, to lock himself in federal buildings, to lock them out, take a team of 19-year-old hackers and go through citizens' private data, start freezing funding for congressionally approved programs, fire and federal employees, cut federal departments, all without any actual authorized power from the people or from the government. And when we take back chairmanship of committees, we stop Elon Musk, we stop the cuts, and we stop the bleeding.
Amen, brother. Amen. That's what people want to hear. That is what people need. You know, Josh, it's really refreshing to have someone running for Congress that has had a career, a full career in education. I mean, you've taught in several schools. You've taught in, I mean, you work for a living, my friend. You know, it is really refreshing to not have somebody like Randy Fine, which is not the choice of the district. He was the choice of the Republicans in Tallahassee that said, well, let's give it to Randy. You know, I mean, he is a suck up. He is sorry. He will not represent your people. I'm telling you, man, you take that veterans issue to the villages and you will mop the floor with him. This is a tremendous opportunity for you. The stakes couldn't be higher.
Yesterday.
Fantastic. This is a tremendous opportunity for you. You know, I would say any other election, this would be a hell of a fight. But man, the wind is at your back. People do not, even Republicans do not like what these people are doing. And you have done an amazing job. Fundraising has been fantastic. Your campaign, I was taking a look at your campaign, the infrastructure you put together, the outreach you put together. You're doing an amazing job, my friend. Just if you can, tell the folks what you need and how we can help.
Absolutely. We're 11 days out from Election Day, so it is all hands moving forward. Tomorrow's the start of early voting. We have 8 straight days of early voting here in the state from the 22nd through the 29th. Everything is about voter contact and getting out the vote. As crazy as this may seem, you know, we're out knocking on doors. We're hitting 25,000 doors a day. We have a huge field team, paid and volunteers. And what we're still hearing is a ton of people telling us they didn't know who their congressperson was. They didn't know that they haven't had a congressperson for the last few months. and they had no idea there's an election coming up on April 1st. So when we make that contact, when we get a hold of them in person, right, it's the number one thing that gets them in and gets them out to vote. And we've got to get people out to vote. We have the support. Our polling numbers are fantastic, but we need to be able to be staying on TV. We need to be able to keep having people out knocking on doors. Anyone in the area who can come out, you can volunteer, if you can canvass, knock on doors, let's go. If not, we have volunteer phone banking through our website and mobilize, or you can make contributions. You can donate on ActBlue or through our website, joshwheel.us. But everything helps. Everything is going towards voter contact, getting out the vote right now. We have the support. We just need them to show up between now and April 1st.
Amen, brother. This is what I try to tell everybody. This is not just an off year election. This is an off year election. This is a special election when nobody expects to be voting, which presents just an incredible opportunity in that Republican turnout's going to be really low. It is. It's going to be really low. There's going to be no Trump coattails, none of that would drive voting for them. This is an opportunity. If we can get out, if we can get the volunteers, if you can get people talking to people, knock on doors and do what you've been doing, what your campaign's been doing. If we can get that done, we've got a real shot at taking the seat.
Yeah. There's no up ballot. They're not coming out for Trump and, whoever the Republican on the line below is gets dragged along. They've got to wake up in the morning and make plans in their day to go out and vote for Randy Fine. And there's a lot of people who don't like him. We've got a really solid, percentage of support from Republicans who have been voting for us. We've got Republicans asking for signs, making videos. We had a really fun Josh Fest music event at the Full Moon Saloon in Daytona Beach last night. And man, there were so many people who came out and were cheering and telling us that they're Republicans for Josh, that they're, first time voting for a Dem, and they're all in on this race. So the support is there.
That's fantastic, my friend. That is fantastic. The other thing that I'd like you to back me up on, I beat this horse to death. I do. I beat it to death. I really do. Local Democratic parties and local Democratic Party involvement in a campaign like yours. There are people that are like, man, I live in a red state. It's just not that active. It's not that. That's why you need to be there. Because when we get an opportunity like this, having bodies already there, already doing the networking, already knowing each other, already on the call list, ready to go to phone bank, you're already plugged in. Just, if you would, back me up on this. I keep telling people, get involved with your local Democratic Party. That is how we counter all of those big donations that the Republicans throw out there, because they're paying for robocalls. They're paying for, you know what I mean? If we've got bodies, if we got people already plugged into the system, man, that's how we do it.
And you got to remember, right? 1% to 2% of people are very active in their political process, or know what's going on in their local party, whether it's Democrat or Republican. And if you're in a district, like ours, it's 46% Republican and 27% Democrat, right? That gives them a lot more manpower just off that same 1%, 2%, right? It's more important in these areas to come out and support your parties. This big district stretches over 6 counties. So we have 6 local Democratic parties here. The organization and the coordinated campaign with them has been phenomenal. They've been out there helping us, launching canvassers, tabling events, doing everything in their areas to keep this going. The one thing that's new to them is they've never had anything this big, right? Because these areas have been grossly neglected by the state and national party for a very long time, right? There's a little bit of learning curve on something operating this big coming through these counties for a Democrat. But I mean, they've been game for it, and they've been essential to us building this every step of the way.
Amen, brother. Amen. Josh, I know I've gone a few minutes over with the time that and I know your time is so incredibly valuable right now. Again, folks, we are in the last push. This is it. This is the hard charge. This is when we make it happen. You've got, and I'm going to say it again, folks. I'm going to say it again. This is an incredible opportunity. The number of people that are going to show up for this turnout, this election turnout will be low. So if you can turn out your base for this, folks, we can win this. We can add this seat. Do it.
Turnout in our primary was 14% on January 28th. So, I mean, if that triples for the general, you're still looking at 42%. There's more than enough voters. I like to point out Bishop Stockton, who was an incredible candidate and ran last November, had 143,000 votes. He lost by 32 points. If we got 143,000 votes on April 1st, we'd win by more than 32 points. We'd win in an absolute crushing landslide. The votes are there. We've just got to get people out to vote.
Well, Josh, I'm here to do anything I can to help. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate you, folks. Support Josh. This is an opportunity like no other right now. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Go.
Enjoy talking to you, Josh. Hey, let's try to get together for Bike Week after you win this.
Come on down. We'd love to have you.
All right. Our next guest, I want to before we bring him in. When you grow up in South Texas, you're blessed. You're blessed in that you're steeped in Hispanic culture. You are. It's just one of the things, the music, the people, the culture. And one of the things that you get in the culture, the word of the day today is ganas. Ganas. Now, Ganas. All right. It literally translates to desire. If you're talking about, I want to go to dinner, you say, tengo ganas de comer algo. I want to go to dinner. But when you're talking about a person, when you're talking about a guy, you're talking about a man, and you say he's got ganas, they don't just say ganas, ganas, Ganas doesn't just translate desire. It means fire. It means heart. It means you're a fighter. It means you are in it to win it, my brother. And today's guest, who's waiting to come in, and I appreciate your time, sir. He is the living embodiment of ganas. I am telling you, Congressman Robert Garcia, thank you so much for joining us. I know your time is incredibly valuable right now. The fight that we've got going on, for you to take the time to come and talk to us and talk to our voters is amazing. I am so grateful for you to be here, sir.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, and thanks for all that you do. And it's a really important time, so happy to join you for a little bit today.
Do you mind if I play the clip?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Folks, Robert Garcia has been out there. He has been a fighter in the system for a while. He has came up mayor of Long Beach.
Yeah, mayor of Long Beach. A longtime teacher and educator, and then got elected mayor, and now in Congress. Yep, just got to Congress 2 years ago.
And like I said, I mean, a fighter. You've been here, been fighting through all of this before. You've been with us. You didn't just. This ain't your first rodeo. Get to Washington, D.C., and they put you on the same committee with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I call her the elevator flatulator. Goes back to something she said online. That's not me just being gross. I'm just saying something she said back during COVID earned her that moniker. You have to forgive me. But during one of the hearings, this went just absolutely exploded. And it exploded because I was just talking to Josh about this. Our base is looking for fighters. They are really looking for people that they want bloody noses. They want people out there swinging. This was amazing, sir. I have to tell you, hats off. I'm taking my hat off. I'm telling you, this was fantastic. This was during a committee hearing. Well, here, let me just play the clip. You're going to love this, folks.
Now, I find it ironic, of course, that our chairwoman, Congresswoman Greene, is in charge of running this committee. Now, in the last Congress, Chairwoman Greene literally showed a dick pic in our oversight congressional hearing. So I thought I'd bring one as well. Now, this, of course, we know is President Elon Musk. He's also the world's richest man. He was the biggest political donor in the last election. He has billions of dollars in conflicts of interest. And we know that he is leading a power grab, also abided by and encouraged by Donald Trump and, of course, the chairwoman, Congresswoman Green. But I also want to run through what Doge actually is going to do. It's a demolition plan that's going to run through our government. Doge is trying to abolish the Department of Education. That means opportunities denied to kids. It means you're ripping away opportunities for children with disabilities who are dependent on this money. Now, I find it ironic.
I am telling you again, hats off to you, sir. 100%. That was fantastic. That's what our people are looking for. They're looking for people that just call it like they see it. And you've seen in the last 24 hours, boy, did you nail it. Did you nail it? The last 24, what they're doing with the Department of Education is disgusting.
Disgusting. Now, I appreciate it. And I think, look, a couple things. One is, obviously, we're in a massive emergency right now as it relates to what Elon Musk is actually doing. Every action that they're taking is horrific, whether it's been, of course, the USAID or foreign aid programs, or whether it's been support for the arts or nonprofits. But what happened just this week and yesterday is at the top of the worst that Elon Musk and Donald Trump can possibly do. What people don't really understand about what's happening with the Department of Education, and I was a longtime educator, so professionally, I taught in the classroom for 10 years, the teacher before I got into politics. This is my career, is education. What people don't understand about the Department of Education is it's the single largest funder and supporter for students with disabilities in this country. So especially in communities that may not have a lot of educational support, the Department of Education sends direct grants to school districts to fund teachers in classrooms to teach children with disabilities, to ensure there's inclusion, there's special programs so they're able to also, of course, complete their educational goals, support for parents. It is critical. And this idea that Donald Trump says, oh, well, we're just going to send the money to the states, that's baloney. That's completely false, because what's going to happen is he'll send some money to the states, not enough to cover the current costs that are going into educating these students, because we know these students need additional support and we want to give that to them. But these governors in red states especially, they're going to send that money to private schools. They're going to send that money not to these classrooms. And we know that private schools already don't really support these students. It's not usually in their mission. That's the public school system. And so public schools will be overburdened. Less children and families are going to get support. And this is a cruel, cruel action to take on students that really need us at this moment. And so that's one of the many horrors that eliminating the Department of Education will do in this country.
Nailed it. Absolutely. I've been sitting here looking at this. I'm in Texas. We do not do the kind of job that y'all do in California in funding your schools. All schools need more help. I mean, I don't think you could throw enough money at education, especially given, to me, civics should be required for graduation. If you can't pass a civics test, you can't graduate. We need people to know more about what's going on. But yeah, in Texas, we're averaging about 18% of our school's funding is coming through the Department of Education. And they keep promising, oh, the money will be there. It'll be there. No, it's not. Look at everything else they've done. It's horrible. It is horrible.
And you think Greg Abbott's going to take those resources, whatever he gets from Trump, and send it to the public school system? He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. And so our public schools, our teachers, our families are going to suffer.
And you cannot take anything they say as any fraction of truth. We've seen everything they do. Talk about immigration for a second, if you don't mind. We knew it was going to be horrible. We knew it was going to be awful. We told people, look, you've got, and I don't shy away from saying it, it's based in bigotry. You've got Elon Musk making Nazi salutes. You've got white supremacy as a core to the Republican Party. And what do we get? And this is just mind-blowing. You've got Marco Rubio has gone down and made a deal with Bukele down in El Salvador. We're paying, we're renditioning people down to El Salvador, and with no due process. And then one of the cases that's just, thank God this is making the news. This is Jose Reyes Barrios. He's a soccer coach and a barber. Even ICE says no criminal history whatsoever, none whatsoever. He was at an immigration hearing in Miami. They took a look at him and they said, gang tattoos. He's got to go. And they just arrested him and shipped him down to El Salvador for no reason. This guy, and I don't mean to go long. I'm sorry, Robert.
No, you're right.
Breaks my heart. This guy was tortured by the Maduro regime. He came here for safety and freedom, and for no reason, no criminal action whatsoever. They just picked him out, and this is why. This is why I want to show you this. A lot of people, we don't follow football. We don't follow it very closely. Globally, it is huge. But even people that are here know who Real Madrid is. And if you tell them names like Zinedine Zidane, Zinedine Zidane, they may have heard of him. This is Zinedine Zidane. You may recognize him, may have heard of him. Globally, these people are massive stars. Cristiano Ronaldo, huge star. You will recognize him. You see that emblem right next to Cristiano here when he played for Real Madrid? That's the tattoo Mr. Barrios had that they called a gang tattoo. I mean, it's really common. As much as we love the NFL, people love football. It's a global, massive thing. You got Premier League, Champions League, La Liga. It's huge. So it's not uncommon for them to have a tattoo like this. I mean, they're really, really common.
Yeah, and I think what's really sad about all this is, all these families are being separated. And this cruel deportation plan. Look, we can all agree, and I've told people, if you're a criminal in this country, you're causing chaos, you're creating crimes. Look, I don't care if you're someone here is documented, a citizen, you've got to be held accountable for your crimes. And you should absolutely. Joe Biden did it. You're causing major crimes, you should be deported. Absolutely. If you're here without the legal paperwork. We can all agree that we don't want hardcore criminals in this country. But people are being swept up right now that have no criminal records. Some are United States citizens. Some are green card holders, people that are just advocating for their free speech, or someone that maybe is on their way to their green card that committed a minor offense 20 or 30 years ago. And so this is a unprecedented action effort by Donald Trump. We should absolutely be highlighting, and I'm glad you are. And this idea that we're going to send people to El Salvador to these horrific conditions in prisons. Trump wanted to first send people to Guantanamo Bay until judges stepped in on that. I mean, there's just a lot of effort here to be inhumane. And that's because we've always known that Donald Trump has no respect for immigrants, for Latinos. He thinks we're all, rapists and murderers, like he has said before in the past. And we've got to advocate for people and be out there and protest these actions.
Well, this isn't hard. Due process, all it is about the government showing their work. That's it. I mean, we have the systems in place. They're doing this for the spectacle. They're abusing people and hurting people for nothing more than the spectacle. We have institutions Trinidad, if they're criminals, they're here. There's already a means to get them out.
That's right. That's right.
You can send them to prison. We don't have to come up with a deal. This is not. Don't take my word for it. I always love that when people will tell you themselves. But this is from Bukele in El Salvador that they just brokered a deal. We're paying them per prisoner to send people down there. Bukele later confirmed the agreement. This is from the CNN interview. Bukele later confirmed the agreement with Rubio on X. Elon Musk, we're governing through a social media platform now, I guess. We are willing to take in only convicted criminals, including U.S. convicted citizens, into our mega prison, CCOT, which, folks, Google CCOT. That place is full of the worst. You're talking about hardened criminals in there in exchange for a fee. Mind blowing.
Yeah, these people. I mean, these people are. I think we know right now that these people have like no humanity. They don't care about the humanity in people. They're cutting horrible deals with. By the way, with authoritarians and dictators, we know that Donald Trump likes authoritarians and dictators. I mean, we're now at the UN voting with countries like North Korea and Russia. And I mean, give me a break. I mean, this is ridiculous that we're cozying up to countries like this, and he's out there praising authoritarian leaders, communist leaders, people like Putin, and standing against allies like Ukraine, and then what he's doing in Central and South America, and cozying up to people that essentially are trying to be authoritarians in their own countries is also really dangerous. And sending folks. By the way, American citizens are getting stopped by ICE and getting detained. I mean, nobody is safe in Donald Trump's regime, and it's important to highlight it, push back, get loud. I think Democrats right now need to be really aggressive. We got to be fighting fire with fire. People don't want Democrats to, be holding hands with Republicans and wishing for the best. I think people want us to bring and match the anger that people feel right now, and that's what we're trying. At least a big group of us are out there advocating that we've got to be a lot tougher and more aggressive.
I mean, you're doing a great job of it. And along those lines, I just want to clarify for people, it's one of the things we do on the show and it's why our audience isn't really like a lot of other audiences. They tend to be more educated. We've got a global audience. Folks, let the congressman know where you're from. Norway, North Africa, Australia. We've got a huge audience here of people that are a little bit different than most audiences. We really do. I can explain to them the 2025 project. It was designed to do that. It's a copycat of, I keep saying this over and over again. It's a copycat of what Nixon tried to do. The unitary executive. They intentionally, this was the plan. They had 5 years and billions of dollars in funding to do this, to come up with this plan, to not run it through you guys. They're doing it by executive order. That's intentional. On purpose, to keep you guys out of the fight so that your Republican colleagues can sit on their butts and just watch this happen. And, not us, what me.
Yeah, they gave up their power. I mean, Republicans in Congress gave up their power. They don't want Congress to do anything. Project 2025 is here. I tell people it's being implemented every day out of the Oval Office. And so we've got to win Congress back. I'm glad you're featuring some of our candidates across the country. We're 3 seats away from actually having control and being able to stop the Trump agenda in the Congress. If we can pick up some seats in special elections, that would be incredible. But also, we're going to have an opportunity, in about a year and a half here in the 2026 election, that midterm, we've got to win and sweep a lot of these seats to actually get control of the budget, have the power to subpoena folks, have the power to launch investigations into Donald Trump, to Elon Musk. All of this is possible. We've just got to turn these elections around. And that means by doubling down on working class issues and reminding people that it's us, it's the country, it's the American people versus the handful of billionaires who right now are running this country with Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you're hitting it right on the head. Exactly. Oversight. There is no congressional oversight right now. It's just a rubber stamp is all this is happening. As we're talking right now, this is happening. And again, I get so mad at the corporate media for saying washing. And I know you guys have an uphill fight with the corporate media. They say things like Elon Musk to visit Pentagon to discuss China. No, he's being briefed right now on our war plans with China and any actions we intend to take with China. Elon Musk, who has tremendous conflicts of interest in China, business interests in China, is sitting there being briefed on our top secret plans, our war plans with China. And he breaks bread and sips tea with Xi. I mean, come on.
Crazy.
This is why we need oversight.
Yeah, and that news coming out of the media and the New York Times reporting on that those plans with China and Elon Musk being briefed by the Pentagon and our military brass is really shameful. So we got to keep fighting, and you keep up the good fight too, and we'll keep doing it on our end.
Well, Congressman, I so appreciate your time. I know your time is so valuable. Keep swinging. I know it's a little different. Our base is usually so congenial, such nice people. People really want to see some bloody noses.
Right.
Thank you for being the fighter you are, sir. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Congressman Garcia, he is just one of many Democrats that are out there. They're plugging away. Just because you don't see it happening doesn't mean it's not happening, folks. They are doing it. We have a huge problem with the corporate media, a huge problem with the corporate media. This guy, he's out there. He's on the Hill. He's in the hearings. He's in the meetings. They are fighting they're writing legislation to protect your Social Security from people like Donald Trump in the future. They're doing it, but they need the majority to do it because Republicans, they're cool with this. They're cool with all of it. And I tell you, folks, it is beyond gross. It is beyond gross. There's some people saying that and you have to forgive me. The congressman was very short on time, and I ran over a few minutes there, and I apologize for that. Yeah, he's from California. This is 42nd district. This is his district. I love his district. I really do love his district. It stretches from Long Beach, one of the busiest ports in the country. It stretches from Long Beach all the way up through LA. So yeah, he is dealing with, the fallout from the fires, the economic fallout from the fires. He is working on representing his constituents there, trying to get it done there for them. And I got to tell you, I am a little jealous of him. This is Santa Catalina Island, or they call it Catalina Island. Avalon is the biggest city there. If you ever get to go to LA, folks, I am telling you, go to Catalina Island. It is incredible. Folks, thank you for all the support. I didn't have time to read the comments. I just didn't, because I was so short on precious time with them. But yeah, I've reached out to Gabe Alamont. I've reached out to Gabe Alamont. We'll see if we can't get her on the show. But thank you for all the support, and I do appreciate it. Catalina is gorgeous. This is Avalon. Catalina is not like a tropical island. It's more what you think of when you think of Greece. It's semi-arid. The bougainvilleas are everywhere. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous, folks. If you ever get a chance, if you ever go to LA, take a few minutes to hop on a ferry and head to Catalina Island. It is fantastic. Glenn Kaneko, thank you. Support Gabe Alamont for Florida's first congressional district. That's right. That is right. We're going to do everything we can to get her on the show. But again, these candidates, this is it, folks. This is the hard press. This is the charge. This is when it's the thickest. So their time, I'm so grateful that they were able to share their time. Thanks for the support, Vince. I really appreciate it. But these are the kind of things that they're up against. Again, you're a member of the legislature. You're a fighter. You're Robert Garcia. And you're seeing this. And it's done by executive order. You've got a president of the United States who is tasked. It is his job to administer the Department of Education. We don't have kings in this country. You don't get elected president and just decide you don't want a particular part of the government anymore, so therefore you're just going to shut it down. No, we don't have that here. That department was created by the legislature. It was signed into law by a prior president. You don't get to come in and just decide it doesn't exist anymore. That has to be done by our representatives, the people we send to Congress to represent us and our interests, not a cadre of Republicans that don't represent folks. You saw it in the last election. It was 35 to 34, and 31% didn't even bother to show up. They don't represent the majority of the country. These actions, hell, even the majority of Republicans don't want this. They've sold it to the dumbest of the dumb among them, and we're going to make them pay for it. We are. But imagine, take for a second and think that you're Robert Garcia, you're Congressman Garcia. This guy's a fighter, man. He is. He doesn't just sit and let this happen. But the Republicans, they can't even get a committee hearing on it because they control the committees. They can't get a vote on any legislation. God, that has to be the most frustrating, angering thing in the world. To go to all the trouble to run for office, to earn your spot in Congress, just to have Republicans sit on their ass and let a guy play king. Well, we're going to let him pretend he's a king. Unitary executive. Bullshit. That is not what our Constitution is. It is not. And if you think they're not going to do the worst of the worst, then, let's just take a look at the hits from the last couple days. You've got you got Howard Lutnick going on Fox News. He's the Secretary of Commerce. Going on Fox News, representative of the United States government, telling Fox viewers to buy Tesla stock. Do you know how unethical that is? Howard Lutnick isn't there to serve Tesla. He's not there to serve Donald Trump. He's not there to serve, the Republican Party and their special interests. He's there to serve the American people. Ford, General Motors, hell, Honda American, Toyota American. There's a lot of Texans down in Tomball making Toyota trucks. They put a sticker on the back of every Toyota truck they make here in Texas. It says, because Texas is a huge pickup truck market. Anyone that they sell here in Texas, they put a sticker on it that says made here, works here. It's not their job to keep their sugar daddy that's writing them checks from going broke, because the people have decided they don't like that Nazi bastard. It's unethical in the extreme. Catherine Ryan, Revolution Rebrewed, which is a Boston-based political activist group, started a postcard campaign to the major news networks with the message, tell the truth, hold the line. Fantastic information, Catherine. Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you. Yeah, this corporate media, the Democrats really are. People, I keep hearing people that are saying, I want to see the Democrats more. I want to see them fighting more. I'm like, man, they are. I don't know what you're talking. And then I remember, oh yeah, I'm kind of plugged in a little bit more than everybody else. I don't have to wait for the corporate media to come around and share something that they're not going to ever share. Spicy Jester, how much must be taken away from red state Republicans before they wake the hell up? I guess they want to fight for scraps at billionaires' tables. Let me tell you, this is what I was talking to Josh about. This is an amazing opportunity. when they went after the VA and they fired those 84,000 VA employees, that was a deal breaker. See, MAGAs have this whole bigotry issue. They're cool with this. They're cool with this. They don't have a problem with hurting the people they want hurt. No due process, don't care. It was just a brown guy. Who cares? We don't like them anyways. I mean, the bigotry, they wear it on their sleeves. But when they went after the VA, oh no, brother. Oh no. That was not okay. You're taking mine? I rely on that VA healthcare. Well, we didn't take any of your healthcare bull. And I loved it. You had a MAGA hat wearing veteran standing up, and you had a Republican congressman telling him, well, we didn't take your VA, cut him off and screamed at the top of his lungs, bullshit. I worked at the VA. You fired me. I was like, yes, go Leopard, go. Eat them faces. I love it. It is really coming home to roost. These upcoming elections, the special elections, sure, they're in tough districts. There's a reason that Elise Stefanik hasn't stepped down from her position up in upstate New York. She still hasn't resigned her position. She went to work for the Trump administration. She has not resigned her position in Congress. They have not. They are so terrified of what's happened to the political landscape. She may end up resigning her position as ambassador before she ends up resigning her position in Congress. I'm telling you, folks. Thank you, Melinda. I appreciate you. I can't do the show without you, folks. I just can't. I appreciate you. I really do. I mean, I got it. We do okay on ad revenues. That was crazy. Why do Republicans run ads during my show? What a waste of money. Thank you for doing it and paying me, but I don't get it. It's the stupidest thing in the world. But I can't run the show on just the ad revenues. It's not the support you give. I am super grateful. I am super grateful. Pamela, thank you for the support. Kate Marylight, thank you for always being here. Long-time donor, long-time member of the community. I appreciate you being here. Her hearing is April 2nd, not approved yet. I do too. I consider Ben, Brett, and Jordy to be personal friends. But yeah, and it's not just that. You've got this going on with, we talked about Elon Musk briefly. You've got this going on with Elon Musk. You've got everybody on Wall Street saying it's over. Greatest brand destruction of our times. Musk's Tesla China crisis. Explain. BYD is destroying Tesla. Yeah, it's not just here. Ask our European audience. Ask the folks in Europe what's happened to Tesla sales in Europe. They've fallen off a cliff in China also. And then now you've got Elon Musk at the Pentagon getting briefed on our top secret military plans regarding China. If war breaks out with China, if China invades Taiwan, he's getting briefed. As we're doing this show, that's what's happening with Elon Musk. It is insane. And Republicans are doing nothing. Republicans are doing nothing. No oversight. We have to put Democrats back in charge of Congress. That's the only thing we can do for the next 4 years is we have to put Democrats back in charge of Congress to have some oversight, because they have no ethics. They'll sit there and hawk Teslas on the White House lawn to try to keep, sugar daddy's money coming in. Screw that. Destroy Tesla. Destroy it. Actions have consequences. I say what I say. Judge me by it. That applies to everyone, including the South African shit gibbons. Including the South African shit gibbons. Elon Musk, David Sachs, Peter Thiel, destroy them for what they're doing. Actions have consequences. And it's not just that. You know, this happened yesterday. There's boilerplate in every GSA contract that says your product and service can't come out of a segregated facility. They removed it. They removed that verbiage from the GSA contracts. And again, you've got, you know what, let me stick with me for a second. I want to show you. I'm going to share this screen. I want you to see this search. I want you to see this search. When you look that up, just Google Trump no longer ban on segregated facilities. Some of the headlines, like USA Today from yesterday, Trump no longer requires ban on segregated facilities in government. That is direct. That tells you what they did. They removed the language. But then you got Washington Post here, Jeff Bezos sane washing this shit. Trump's new guidance doesn't legalize segregation. Here's what changed. What? And I'm not kidding. That's the article. Trump's new guidance doesn't legalize segregation. Here's what changed. No, we know what he did. We know what he did. And we know why he did it. Don't sit there and try to spin this like it's okay. There's only one reason they would remove that language from those contracts. Now, I need you to wrap your mind around that, folks. That was boilerplate. That means the government attorneys came up with the standard part of GSA contracts, government contracts. They had to actively go and send a lawyer to remove it. It's not that they just didn't add it. It's always there. Now, why do you think they intentionally removed that? And then they're trying to spin it today. Well, we didn't make segregation legal. Segregation's still illegal now, but you're attacking the Civil Rights Act that makes it illegal. You're trying to repeal that. And we've got the corporate. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Folks like Robert Garcia, the Democrats are out there. They're fighting this fight, but they don't get any help from the corporate media. The corporate media sane washes this shit. Well, yeah, they did this horrible thing and they removed this language that says, you can't contract from a segregated facility. But it's okay. It's okay because it didn't make it legal to do that. It just said that, you can't be excluded for it. And that's no big deal, right? That's no big deal. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Little Strump, a Nazi salute doesn't work in Europe. Amen. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. North Swiss, appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. I really do. I really do. Ginger Nerd, you're not the only one. A lot of people are looking at this, and they're looking at so many things that used to be icons in our corporate media just giving up, just bending the knee, and they're being mouthpieces for this administration. Now, look, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to leave this as part of the roundtable. I mean, we're already into past the first hour, so we can do this as a roundtable. I really want to see your comments on this. Why do you think they did that? What do you think's next? You've seen everything that they've done. Jim Crow 2.0. Why don't you wear their hoods out in the open? That's what they're moving to, man. That's what they're moving to, so they can wear their hoods in Congress. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. I hope it's better. I really do. I really do. And, you know, folks, everything that they do, we're seeing worst case scenario. I cannot believe that somebody actually wrote that article. I mean, how mind-numbingly stupid do you have to, how detached do you have to be? You remember back in the day when John Roberts, they were repealing some civil rights protections, and they said, and he proclaimed that racism was basically dead. That's how mind-numbingly detached from reality you have to be to write articles like that. I mean, this is the fight that we're fighting, folks. This is why our communities, this is why we're here together. So that we can scream out into the populace, no, this is not okay. And it's not going to be okay. And yes, the worst thing that you imagine is going to come from this. No, I haven't heard anything about that yet, Uncle Fatty. I haven't. And yeah, we got 420 coming up. You got your plug in there, my friend. I saw that. I saw that. But you know, it's this. And the corporate media won't even ask, who is the bigot that's doing this at the Pentagon? What is the process? Give me a name. I want to know who's doing this, because it's obviously a bigot. This just happened. This just happened. Wolf McBashes, longtime supporter. Thank you for always being here. Get involved. Shoulder down, shield up. Stay salty. Amen. Get involved with your local Democratic Party. I'm telling you, it's huge. It is life-changing. I mean, it will literally change our lives. And you get to meet some nice people. Do it. Sharon Reddy, remember the Flower Children won and we're still around. Amen. That's what I keep telling people. This is a rehash of what Nixon tried to do. He lost, and the same reasons he lost, Trump will lose. We're just going to have to fix all the damage they do. We're going to need people like Robert Garcia. We're going to need people like Josh Weil. We are. We're going to need them. So let's make sure they're there. But yeah, this just happened. Arlington Cemetery ships content on Black and female veterans from website. When you go to visit Arlington, you can look up on their website and it'll tell you about notable graves, people of note that are buried there. Well, they started pulling. Well, look, let me show you some of the people that they pulled. Melissa Grubb, thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, please hit the thumbs up button. There's 2,500 of us here. Hit the thumbs up button. Let's get as many people to see Josh Weil and Congressman Garcia as we possibly can. E.T. Colin Powell was one of the. Hey, man, you're blowing the surprise for me, brother. Yes, this is one of the people they removed from the website listing notable graves. It's a list, and then they've got a short paragraph of why they're notable. Colin Powell. They removed Colin Powell from the list of notable graves of people buried at Arlington Cemetery. Colin Powell. Tell me it's not a frickin' bigot that's doing this. They also removed this man's name from the list of notable graves. For those of you that don't know, this is Medgar Evers. civil rights icon Medgar Evers, who was assassinated in his driveway in Jackson, Mississippi. He was a soldier. He was a hero during World War II. And he's buried at Arlington Cemetery. They removed references to Medgar Evers from the government website, from the Arlington Cemetery website. And the list goes on and on and on. You know who they didn't remove? White guys. Didn't remove white guys. Yeah, they went so far as to remove the Tuskegee Airmen from the Air Force Academy's training regimen, part of their training curriculum, to teach about, part of what they teach you at West Point, part of what they teach you at the Air Force Academy is history, so that you understand the context of what they're teaching you. They got rid of they pulled the Tuskegee Airmen out of our history. One of the most successful units in all of our military history. They were amazing, not just for what they had to do to get where they were. That was incredible in and of itself. But when they got there, they were one of the, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing to someone like me. It's insane. It is insane. And yeah, I saw somebody mention Jackie Robinson. Yeah. They removed reference to Jackie Robinson. You cannot tell me. And the corporate media, who's got access to the White House every day, will not ask, who? I want a name. Who is the bigot that's doing this? They won't ask. And you'll never know. That's the problem that Democrats are facing. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Everybody see it. You know what? Let me pull this up. The Navajo Code Talkers. This is going to just make you sick. You've all seen this image. There is outside the Pentagon, there is a statue of this image. There's a statue of this image. It's one of the most iconic images you will know. The minute I pull it up, you'll know. You can tell me where this is without me telling you where it is. It is such an ingrained part of our history. Where is this flag raising? Jan Rickenberg, Pete Hogsbreath is behind it. Yes, he is. Because he is a white supremacist. I will say that. That is my personal opinion of the man. Everything I know about the man, he's a white supremacist. Bingo. Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima. Two of the soldiers in that picture aren't white. Their history has been removed. Their history has been removed. You cannot tell me that this isn't a Klan-loving bigot doing this. You cannot tell me that all the white guys in that picture stayed, but the non-white guys disappeared. And the damn corporate media, damn you to fucking hell, will not ask the question, who's doing this? What is his name? Who has been put in charge? Is this being handled in the Pentagon? Because Pete Hegseth is not operating from in the Pentagon. He is working out of a private office. Is there someone that, I don't know, Elon Musk is paying for? Is there someone who is doing this? No one will ask. And the Republicans are sitting on their asses with their thumbs up their butt, doing nothing. And the Democrats, the fighters like Robert Garcia and Hakeem Jeffries, can do nothing about it. They can't call a hearing. They can't, all they can do is come here and talk to you directly. Every Republican has to go. Every Republican. Every last Republican has to go. Thank you, Jade. I appreciate you being here. I am grateful for you. I'll say it every time. I cannot do it without you. Our medal, yeah, exactly. Medal of Honor recipients just disappeared because they ain't white. So I'll ask you again, what do you think they're going to do? Why do you think they removed the boilerplate language from the GSA contracts that says your product and your service cannot come from a segregated shop? What do you think they're going to fucking do? I tell you, folks, I am angry doesn't cut it. And I get it. You're angry too. So I'm going to do everything I can to keep bringing fighters here on the show to talk to you directly. We're going to bypass the corporate media. We're going to handle this fight ourselves. But I'm telling you, folks, this is an opportunity like no other. Even the bigots are like, what? You're taking my veteran health care, my Social Security? You fired people at my Social Security office? What do you mean my Social Security office is up for sale? You was only supposed to do that to brown people. What do you do? I voted for you. Don't you know I voted for you? Yeah. Very least, a lot of them are going to stay home. Some of them are going to cross the aisle. This is a tremendous opportunity. And folks, even if we just move the needle significantly in these special elections in these red districts, it will wake up Republicans. They like that free money. And that's what it is. That's all Republicans are right now, is free government money. They ain't doing shit. We're giving them an office. We're giving them travel budgets. We're giving them staff to go get their damn laundry. We're giving them a cafeteria. We're giving them everything. It's all free money. It's welfare, because they sure as hell ain't working for it. That's what we're doing, folks. That's what we're doing. That's why I am telling people, hold the line, hold the damn line, hold the line, get out there, show up, vote, become a part. I'm telling you, I do it. They are great people. Just like we get together here and you get your batteries recharged. It's the same thing. Get involved with your local Democratic Party. And yes, if you live in an incredibly red district and it's just some old timer and a couple handfuls of people, or a handful of people that they need you the most. They need your energy. Them old timers, they know how it works. They know how the systems work. And they're dying to find people they're 100% dying to find people to teach how the systems work. They want you there, my friend. They do. Do it. Get involved. Folks, that's what I've got for you today. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you've I want to thank our guests again. They were amazing. I want to thank you for supporting the show. I am truly grateful. This is the new Hold the Line mug. We've modified it. It looks, I love that. I love that fist on it. I think that is fantastic. I think that is fantastic. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for making this possible. We've got a few minutes left. Any questions you have, suggestions, any of it. We're a community here. Let's talk. Let's do it. This is the roundtable portion of the show. Sean Parnell is the man who took down the DEI. Thank you, Kate Marylight, for always being here. Sean Parnell. Let me jot that name down. See exactly what you're talking about. Jerry Rowe, we must boycott. I'm telling you, the 31st. This is my plan. Great. We'll roundtable that. This is my plan. Last day of last month, we had an economic blackout. Everybody, close your wallet. And as you can tell by the Dow, let's see what the Dow's doing right now. That us closing our wallets is working. It's working. Yep, Dow's still down today. It's trying to recover, but it's not. It's not. It's still down. It's down almost 100 points so far today. Let's take a look at Tesla, see what Tesla's doing. The White House has been telling everybody and their brother to buy it. It's about even. It's up eight. It's up 3 points. It's up 3 points right now. Doubt it'll stay that way. They just had to recall all their damn. Did you hear that? The Cybertrucks? They're having to recall all the Cybertrucks because the panels are falling off them because they didn't know what frickin' glue to put on there. They didn't understand what environmental brittleness is when it comes to adhesives. Jesus Christ. I wouldn't own a Tesla for anything. But the economic blackouts are working. So we're going to do one again the last day of this month. Spread the word. Spread the word. I put it on my social media. I'll put it out again. Economic blackout, the 31st. Let's do it. Now, the reason I'm doing that, a lot of people are like, no, we need to do this for a week, man. We need to do this forever. Every day, people need to close their wallet. That's the goal. That's the goal. And I love your fire and I love your moxie. I do. But the reason we do it for one day is we'll get more people that'll give it a shot, try it out. And they'll realize how easy it is to really make a difference and hurt the right people. You want to hurt billionaires, make them poor people again. All of their wealth is based on speculation on the market. It's all made up. You drive their stock prices down. That's how you hurt them people. You want to make a difference? Economic protests are the absolutely best way to make a difference. The most effective way. But we'll do it for one day at the end of this month, give people another taste of it. And I get his pushback all the time. Oh, well, they'll just shop the next day. It won't make a difference. Oh, no, they don't. Oh, no, they don't. See, that's the whole point of it. Once you participate and you take that day and not spend any money, are you just going to go hog wild the next day and just waste all your efforts? No. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to be disciplined. Me and Mrs. Texas Paul walked out of yesterday was our shopping day. We walked out with about half what we normally buy. I passed up a whole lot of stuff. I did. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple of things I just flat out forgot, but but yeah, we passed on a lot of stuff. Why? Because we've been disciplined. We've participated. And that's what it's about. You have a day here, a day there, till you get people to get a taste of it. They start being disciplined, and then bam, then we have a week of it. Then we have a month of it. You want to scare the shit out of them? This November, have an economic blackout. You know, Black Friday, leading into their Christmas sales. You work up to an economic blackout by November, oh yeah, you'll get some attention. And that's the goal, folks. Momentum. And yes, this is what people do once they start participating. Only buy what you need. That doesn't mean don't buy anything. It doesn't mean don't ever go out to dinner with your wife. You know, well, honey, I ain't got to buy you a birthday gift this year. Old Texas Paul State, economic backup. Bullshit. you better buy her a birthday present. But no, you'll be more disciplined. And it works. It really does work, folks. And it scares the shit out of them. There you go. William Brown, Walmart runs on a margin of 1% to 2%. If you cut their revenue by 5%, you will shock that whole system. Amen. Amen, brother. Thank you for that great comment. I am truly grateful. And I don't know if you noticed, I've started answering the emails again. I do apologize. There was a break in there a few days where I couldn't. I read your emails. I did, but I just didn't have time to sit down, and it's a lot of time. Sit down and read them all and respond. But I'm back at it. Amen, Randy. Amen. I don't know the thinking behind that. I wouldn't buy a Tesla, but man, there's some great cars out there right now. I got to tell you, man, I am hooked on that ID Buzz. Woo! I love that thing. I do. I don't know why. It's just my personality. I get in mind something that I really like. Do y'all remember what the ID Buzz is? This is the ID Buzz. I'll show you. I can pull it up. I don't know why I love this car so much. Do not know why I love this car so much. But I do. Images. There we go. There we go. Comes in all kinds of cool colors, and I love this thing. It's the new Volkswagen bus. Man, I can just see me, straw hat, old beat up straw hat, middle of summer, cut off shirt, cut off shorts, got my sandals on, going to the beach, baby. Going to the beach. I'm telling you, I love this thing. I do. There's some really cool vehicles, and that's the huge thing about Tesla is right now, every other car company like BYD in China and Europe, they're doing amazing things. They're growing like leaps and bounds. Every other car company, Honda's got a new EV that's taken off. Just everybody's growing by leaps and bounds. Not Tesla. Not Tesla. That'll teach you to shit on your customer base. Thank you, Pam. I appreciate you. It is a hippie car, Chris. It is, and I love it. Jody, this right here. Yeah, I don't know why they don't let BYD into the country. I don't think that they're making some amazing stuff right now. Amy, appreciate you being here. Shovels and rakes and implements of destruction. Well, I tell you right now, that's the reason I don't own one. You got to actually be a little bit rich to just buy one. They were so sought after. Right now, they've just started for the first time to offer incentives on the idea. I told you I've been following them. When they first came out, they were selling them for over sticker price, over retail. That's ended. Now they're offering incentives on them because the next model year is going to be coming out, and they don't want to be stuck with a bunch of them. But yeah, love that thing. I've never met a person that bought a hybrid that didn't absolutely love it. I do have a Harley, Jerry. I love old school stuff like that. I do. I've got a deluxe. Looks like an old Beecher. It's a bagger with the wide Beecher handlebars on it. But I'm gonna get me some ape hangers for it. I'm going to. It's on the list of things to do. I love that thing. I have never met a Prius owner that has ever expressed an ounce of regret. Good car company, Randy. Good car company. I forget what is it? Is it Finland? Where's Polestar from? I'm having a mind block. I know it's one of the Scandinavian countries. Having a mind block. It's not working right now. I was surprised because I like Subaru as a brand also. But I've told you before, we're kind of Honda people. I was really surprised to see Honda, Subaru, and Toyota not jump on the EV bandwagon. They were brought in kicking and screaming. Now Honda's, they're going all in now. They are. Their next generation that's coming out, I believe next year or year after, they're talking about modernized charging system. Oh, BYD. This pisses me off that we can't buy their products here. They just came up with a new charging system. They've got new charging technology. You can charge a car to 80% in 2 minutes longer than it takes you to pump a tank of gas. Yeah. And if you know anything about EVs, the 80% mark is what everybody shoots for. After 80%, charging any battery becomes, it just falls off a cliff, the amount of time it takes. The physics of it are like this. When you're charging a battery, the electrons have to have a place to go. So the example I like to use is a parking lot. If a parking lot's empty and you just pull the gates back and you let everybody go in, people move and park really fast. But when that parking lot gets about 80% full, yeah, people are going up and down aisles, looking for a place to park and this, that, and the other, and it slows down considerably. It's the same thing with the electrons when you're charging a battery. About that first 80%, it charges really fast. After that, it gets much longer. So most EV owners, unless they're parked in the garage overnight, like if they're at a charger, they only charge them to 80%. Thank you for the support. It's me. I appreciate you. Lucid makes some beautiful cars. Well, folks, we've gone actually a little bit long now. This is what I had for you today. I hope it's been useful. I hope you've appreciated it. Thank you to our guests for showing up. As always, enjoy some Texas cities at night.